It is, of course, time for the Indie of the Week.
Ooh.
This week, because I'm me. I'm actually going to do two.
Oh.
One of them is very, very short, though.
Okay.
I will throw out.
The most important thing is...
I am very much
Are
me.
you sure you're not the ghost of Christmas present?
Well, I'll go one better. You'll see in a second. The very first thing is not me.
Oh, yes.
But he's a handsome chap. So this is just a very brief little update. So Tabletopper.nl, so Dutch website, has got this Evert Ord figure. He was a keen wargamer in the Netherlands, passed away after a very, very short battle with cancer, and they've decided to make this figure as a sort of a tribute for him. So KWF is the Dutch sort of Cancer Society, sculpted by the
Paul Hicks.
Paul Hicks, thank you very much. Just in one ear and out the other. Paul Hicks sculpted this, and then Tin Rose have very kindly made the molds and done 200 castings, so it is limited. But the proceeds all go to the Dutch Cancer Society. So if you want a little bit of a different figure to show a bit of support, and also to paint a majestically bearded man in a kilt on the tabletop, it's a great cause, and a beautiful figure as well.
I was thinking this would be perfect to have alongside like Dad's Army or something. So if you've got some of those models,
I do have all of those models. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great for that, or to drop him beside Christopher Lee as an observer of some description, or an ossifer type. But yeah, just a really interesting little figure. And like I say, a great cause as well. So
very much so.
That's my little bonus one, which isn't in the show notes. That's just there to confuse people. But the main one that I want to take a look at this week is Barrage.
Now, how big are these pictures, and how annoyed is Lloyd going to be?
Well, look how big the text is.
Annoyingly, the pictures are of decent size, because I wasn't 100% certain who was going to be in this, whether it would be Lloyd or Warren. So, mostly do Resin Terrain. They do have a few other little bits and pieces in there that we'll get to. We'll take a look at War Mats first, because they're quite nice, pricey though, but they are, absolutely spanking textured mats. There's a company in America do something very similar, and again, similar sort of price, where they're all sort of bespoke, made things. The Frosty mat is particularly nice. I really like the grass mat though, and I'd seen it before from, like I say, an American company, but they're never in stock. Is my major issue with trying to get my hands on these things. So if I open that one, the Grassy War Games mat, I mean,
that is very good. Actually,
that's very nice. Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's one of these things where if you've got the cash and you want to have a really, really nice display mat, I have a green cloth mat, and it's so vividly green. It's
it's Kermit green.
Is it one of the old Games Workshop?
It's one of the old Games Workshop ones, which are so vibrant that no grass has ever existed in nature.
Is it like Mountain Dew?
Oh, yes. It's very much.
But they feel nice.
It feels great.
Yeah. It's like when you've had a number one haircut.
That is, yeah,
it's like that. And then being sprayed green, like some sort of river in New York for St. Patrick's Day. It's very similar in colour to that. Yeah. Anyway, like I say, they only do a few. They are pricey. They do look fantastic, though. However,
you're saying they're mats, though. Are they roll up? Are they able to be rolled up and stuff?
Yeah. You can see it in the back of this one here, where it's just sort of disappearing up into the mountainous regions with all your hills and folds.
It was just with the snowy one. It looked like there was a little bit more like extra detail worked into it and stuff.
Texture, they are textured. You'll probably lose a bit over time, but then any of those mats that have some form of stuff attached to it, even the static grass mats like the GW one will sort of flake.
My GW one's quite bold in places.
It's bold in places. Oh dear, what a terrible shame.
That's just where the hills go.
But the buildings, oh, lorks and lordy, I love the buildings. We only have a few in the French and Indian War, so I'll have a look at those first. Like I say, resin cast, and all of the stuff on Barrage's website comes in 2 flavors. Paint it yourself, or they will paint it for you to what they call War Games quality, which is, base coat, dry brush, wash, that type of thing. Pretty much what you're seeing in the pictures here.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the time to get involved in doing the actual painting yourself, and not everybody has the time to get their tabletop done. Time is money, friend, as the Goblin with Warcraft would say. It means you can get it pre-done for you. However, it's terrain. Let's break out a big house decorating brush, slap that paint on it.
Yeah.
Every one that you paint yourself allows you to buy an extra building. That's how I look at it. Really fill your tabletop. Yeah.
Can you just look at the comparison between the prices again?
Yes, I can if you want. So, unpainted.
Yeah.
It's
not that much more, essentially, to get the painted one then. That's quite good.
It depends where you're coming from, I suppose. Where are we? Because some of the
very nice
little ones are very cute indeed. Let's have a look at our log church. I don't know what it is about the French Indian War at the moment. I think it's probably because there's a couple of companies have started pushing stuff out for them. Might be attracting me to it. There's some really nice miniatures have come out of late, including Last of the Mohicans-esque miniatures.
Oh, is that the stuff from North Star that they've been doing?
Yeah.
Do they have those funky shaped weapons?
Yes, they do. The big clubs, the big brutal looking clubs, those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them do. Some of them just have muskets. Hence the name Muskets and Tomahawks. But like I say, the French Indian War stuff is nice. Obviously would work for American War of Independence as well, and a lot. Well, even up to the American Civil War, they like to keep their log buildings. The most of them are still kicking around today with little notes on them, going, "This hut once hid a man for 15 days while being pursued by badgers," or something.
That's it. America had like the world's biggest log building. It was like a museum. It was ginormous.
Was that the one that was made out of what looked to be redwood?
Yeah.
Logs. Yeah.
Absolutely ginormous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's one for people to start Googling at home whenever they get bored listening to us witter on.
But it burnt down. Oh. I think they kind of rebuilt it, but not exactly the same.
It's great when you see 2 kids standing beside it and they're smaller than the trunk of the tree that's been made into the first level of the first course. Anyway, Asian Pacific have some really nice stuff in here for people getting involved in both Vietnam, Korea, and World War One. So you get things like the Japanese fortifications, but then also the various bamboo houses and stuff.
And the steel pillbox is so cool. I didn't realize they did those.
They did, and they rusted like bejesus.
God, there must have been like ovens in there as well.
I imagine so. Yeah. It's never a good place to be at the best of time.
We don't need to shoot them. We'll just let them slowly cook.
Leave them inside to broil. You're a terrible man. We all thought that you were the nice one here.
Well, you got flamethrowers in the Pacific.
That's very
outside.
True.
Speed up the process a bit.
Yeah.
Cook them off. But the things like this, there's a few companies talking about doing Vietnam-based games at the moment, or Rubicon have been talking for a little while, and NAM68, and I think Work and Raid has been working on one on and off for a bit as well. So I'm expecting to see a sort of a burgeoning of Vietnam-based games. Things always seem to go in cycles, and all of a sudden every company releases one at the same time, like disaster films in Hollywood.
Yes.
You wait all year, and then they come along at once.
Where was Rambo 4 set?
Oh, it would have been much, much later on.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember where it was. It was terrible anyway. Really bad. But you can see there, nice level of detail on the castings as well.
Yeah, plenty of space to play around with your miniatures, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, I did answer a question about some of the buildings that I had, because I was wondering whether or not they were solid resin or if they had hollow interiors and stuff.
Hollow interiors, like they are hollow. Yeah, because they're gaming pieces primarily. So Nicely detailed, but you can still get inside them to cram whole squads of VC in there and wait in ambush for whatever poor suckers come in for a Zippo raid.
Do a bit of Tropic Thunder as well.
You could do Tropic Thunder. You could break out the 7 TV rules.
Yes. Oh my god.
And play Tropic Thunder. Yeah. Just like a dude playing another dude. But I really love these because it's a unique style that we don't see.
Yeah, you don't tend to see these, do you?
Wattle and daub, standard wood, plastered. We get all of those all the time, but these woven,
the palm leaves and stuff.
Yeah, Pacific sort of unique buildings. We just don't see them, and they are absolutely.
That's really cool. Yeah,
absolutely clinker sham. Speaking of clinkers, little boats as well. So your junks and your houseboats
do aquatic attacks.
I mean, if you're going to be playing, especially if you're playing Vietnam, all down the Brown River, then having a bunch of boats or having a village set up with a load of boats in the docked along or moored, then just burn a PTR boat up.
I gotta get 2 of these boats to sail past each other so I can just shout, I love doing Wall Street.
Anyway. So yeah, the Asian Pacific buildings as well, absolutely gorgeous. And the biggest by far is
European houses.
Again, a rake of different bits and pieces, but I'm going to start off with this because I really like this.
That is I like cool. That too.
Yeah. So if you want to play in Paris or other bits and pieces like the Defense of Berlin, you've got your metro or underground sort of entrances. Like and it's a really simple concept.
It's really weird they made the steps actually look like they're going down.
Yeah. It's a good piece of kit and adds a bit of obstacle blocking terrain in the middle of your tabletop without it just being another rubbly thing. Or
it's a good place for your units to spawn and also be in cover at the same time.
That's true.
So, rather than just appearing somewhere on the edge of the board. So
yeah, or for objective-based games, attempting to get out through the metro or into it. That's your objective.
Simple but effective stuff. Very
get a bit of Fanta Black on that.
Oh yeah. So when you're wargaming, you can look into the void.
Must be hollow. I can't see anything down there. Yeah. So anyway, metro side, you have a variety of buildings from the medieval onwards, which are obviously great for doing things like Saga, for example. We getting closer to playing a game of Saga online, are we? Yeah. Just checking. Oh, good times. So, as I was saying, wattle and daub buildings, we get those all over the place. Everybody likes a bit of wicker and brick. And away you go.
So very nice. The other thing as well that's always nice about this kind of stuff is that because architecture in Europe hasn't necessarily changed over the course of 100, 200 years or something. You can kind of use it for actually 1,000. Yeah,
some of the big things, churches, have been kicking around for quite some time.
Yeah. So you can use these across a whole host of different periods of warfare, which is kind of cool. So
I like this because it has a very Mediterranean feel to it. So good for obviously anything World War II in Europe, but also it wouldn't look out of place if you stuck it on a tabletop for Blood and Plunder or Mexican War or things like that as well. So
yeah, very true.
Yeah, with the different color schemes there, you very quickly go from Italy to like somewhere further down, like where I was, the Balearics,
with your slingers.
All those holiday snaps of your Balearics.
Because in the Balearics they go with the brown tiles. You think of the red tiles on the roofs, but all the tiles in the Balearics were brown.
Depends on the mud you have to hand when it comes to clicking off your clay tiles, I suppose.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Do you have red clay? No.
Oh, wow.
Well,
you can actually get the inside as well. Very cool.
Yeah. Which is nice, again, for playing internally.
Seems like a place where someone would go for shelter and get immediately stabbed. As is the way. So
this is the way. Have a quick look at some of the bits and pieces for your defense line. So some little bunkers or anti-tank nests.
Nest.
My particular favorite.
The butt plug.
The single person air raid shelter.
Or
that is correct, Lloyd. Yes.
Or the butt plug, yeah. You might need one if you're...
You're laughing, but that's the perfect size when you look at the mini.
Can't bring them anywhere, can you?
Oh, dear.
The thing is, could you imagine you hear the air raid going and then you have to get into this where you're touching the walls and you're thinking, oh, man, I really hope that nothing comes anywhere near me, because how much safer would you be?
God.
I mean, theoretically, yes, but at the same time, let me out, please.
I like how they have valiantly tried to put slopes on the top so that the bomb might glance off.
I mean,
did you say the bomb would glance off or the bum? What did you say?
Yes.
Whichever one you want, Lloyd. Whichever one you want.
Don't engage. And even little carts as well. Need to throw some hay in there and John Wayne on the top, and away you go for the longest day. Just run up a hill.
Nice little bits and pieces that kind of add a little more character to your tabletops.
Yeah. Nice. And I mean, you've got other bits and pieces in there with vehicles and boats. So there are some little boaties.
Oh, I saw that they had some like historical images underneath one of those. If you go back to the single person air raid one, do they actually have some historical images of that underneath or at all? Or?
Alas, no, I don't believe so. Oh, they do.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Wow.
And the actual schematics for it.
If you want to build one at home.
Yeah, in case you're worried.
Yeah.
In case you're worried. Viking ships, Soviet landing craft, and other parts. So a whole range of craft if you want to do your D-Day or just river crossings.
A submarine base assault, perhaps.
Yeah. If I've got a U-boat, that's could be done. Could be done.
Oh, I like this. I like these guys in their dinghies.
There's guys in their dinghies.
Do they do the guys in the dinghy as part of it?
Yeah.
Contains 8 figures, yeah.
So
to be rowing along.
You too can do your river crossings. So apart from all the bits and pieces of resin that you can see there, also crude streets and the like, they also do a set of rules.
Ah, cool.
Now, these are interesting.
Rattenkrieg.
That's not working. But I got into it earlier, so how did I get into it earlier?
It looked like it was going to work. Let's give it more time.
There you go. Now, this is interesting.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Because they wanted a game that was simple to play / fun. Look at the page count. But they also wanted something that had the complexity and accuracy of something more approaching a historical simulation. And so you get this. Now, obviously, I would prefer this to be in some form of book.
Written context,
that I can flick through.
Yeah.
But
210 pages, you ain't.
I have absolutely no problem with that at all. But as you can see, it is a comprehensive platoon-based game. So you're thinking bolt action sort of scale, if people are already familiar with bolt action. But it has a lot of additional details in here. So if you've been playing bolt action for a while, it's a very simple game. It's abstracted to hell and back. One of the things they looked at was, when you look at historical accuracy, this is for 156 scale gaming, so essentially 28 mil. when you look at weapon ranges, they don't work in bolt action. Everything is compressed.
Because everything should be able to hit everything.
Everything should be. A pistol might not be able to reach from corner to corner. At 28 mil. This it will. So you've got a whole other world of hurt there. If somebody can see you and they've got a gun, you're getting shot. So it's really a case of don't be visible when there's a man with a gun opposite you. I've not had a chance to dive into this completely yet. I've just been sort of starting to have a glance through it. I've no problem with 210-page rulebooks. I've quite a lot of them around me in various scales. I've never had one for this scale of game. So large scale skirmish platoon level. But when we were looking at some of those other bits and pieces, I could see how this could be extrapolated to do Hell in the Pacific or Vietnam, because there are things like smart scenery. So this is a great example when you're looking at those buildings and you're going, okay, you can look inside, you can lift the top off and there are people in there type of thing. As they say here, it doesn't look like there's anybody in this sort of greenery, but they've actually built the tree line to be a lift off, so you can actually have hidden things.
That's cool.
Very nice.
They have these mojons, these markers, which I think is Spanish for cairns, because they can be used like waypoints when you're moving. You essentially set a track down. However, it apparently, according to Urban Dictionary, it also means like a submarine-like turd that will block the toilet. So I'm sure Lloyd is loving that. So you've got a depth of tactical orders as well.
You've got a dirty mind, boy.
He does.
I do not.
Where you're attempting to set out your platoon to navigate areas. There will be certain areas that armor and vehicles won't be able to access as easily as infantry. It's an incredibly in-depth game.
The shell impacts on an armor plate with a thickness of 100 millimeters with a slope of 0 degrees.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Tigers had a lot of armor. T-34s had less armor, but slope T-34 better armor, hence Panther. And even things like this, the idea where on a 6x4 table or an 8x4 table, when you're looking, 200 inches would be much, much larger. You're talking like, what? 9-10 foot, so that last image of a target with the tank in it, it's going to be very difficult for you to miss. Much more likely is you're going to be actually, if you've got an anti-tank gun, you're going to be looking at the first image. So distance isn't an issue. Movement is the issue.
Right.
And therefore how fast the vehicle has been moving is whether or not you can track quickly enough, because when something's up close and the reticule's like there, it doesn't take much before it's gone. So you're having to track, and therefore that's the issue when it comes to targeting, which I really like because I'm that type of person. So it's a fascinating rule set, and it's free for people who might want to try a different style of game with the miniatures they already have. There's so much in there that I'm going to have to spend some time picking it apart just to see what else you can do. Some of it looks very, very dense. However, I think that's just because it's first sort of glance and you're looking at it going, okay, well, what does this actually mean? But you can see here that they sort of break down every chapter into subsequent sections, and then there are also playtest areas where it goes, well, here's how this actually plays out in game terms. So I like things like this where you have dead zones. If just because you happen to be in the second story of a window of a building doesn't mean you're actually going to be able to hit people behind that thing, because they're just going to be,
because in actual fact you wouldn't be able to see them.
So for people who are after more than a simple set of rules, where they want the realism and tactical complexity of actually playing a game of modern sort of warfare out, I think this could be a really interesting set of rules to play on. Also, this is quite good, your combat stance. So you get a -1 combat stance. If somebody's shooting you in the back, unlucky, you're not dodging that because you don't know they're coming, therefore there's a -1. However, if they're sort of side on, then they're a neutral they're tucked in, they're in a relatively concealed combat stance, but they're not paying attention. If they're looking at you, then they're more likely to go, oh, he's about to shoot me in the face, I'm going to move. So things like that. Arcs of fire change depending on the weapon you're using. So snipers with a scope weapon at like 4 times magnification have a very tight field of fire, field of vision, whereas somebody with like a machine gun running forward will have a 360-degree vision. However, if they're planning on shooting, a 180, because they're only really going to be focusing on what they can hit. Whereas if you're just chunking it forward, you can be looking all around you, not really paying attention.
Somewhere, someone who's playing BattleTech is going, my game's complicated. And then they're going, oh, you've not played Rattenkrieg.
Honestly, I think it's really fascinating. I'm looking forward to playing
amazing.
Because
the thing is it's built by a group of obviously dedicated gamers because it's come out of a club, hasn't it?
Yeah,
they've probably played it quite a lot. They may not have got a lot of games in, but they've probably played it quite a lot.
The thing is, it started off where they'd been playing a lot of World War II based games and going, well, this game has this, but it doesn't have this, this, and this. This game has arcs of fire, but doesn't have control.
It feels like it's grown out of house rules, and then eventually they just gone bollocks. Let's just write our own set.
Just right. Well, actually, it came out. They found a set of tank rules that had a lot of bits and pieces. And it's like, well, what if we change this from being just a tank-based game to being a smaller scale, but combined arms? So you've got your infantry and the like, which is why I think it's sort of set for the platoon level skirmish. Because if you're only going to be playing with a small number of men, you can have you
can have that depth of rules and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yes. So that's why I thought we should take
impressive.
A look at God. I mean, if nothing else, it's worth it for a free set of rules.
Wow, yeah. I can see a lot of people downloading those and spending the weekend reading that. So
I mean, I do like being able to push up to a building to get cover. Like, you can't shoot me because I'm directly below you now.
Yeah, and if you stick your head out the window to shoot me, somebody's going to take that off. Yeah. So there's a lot to dive into in it. A ton to dive into. If I could get my hands on a printed version, I would be in heaven. As it is, I'll have to do that scrolly thing on a computer. I'm not going to be happy.
The thing that I do appreciate is that even though it looks like a textbook, they've put in lots of diagrams and images and all that kind of thing and broken it up nicely, so it's presented in a good way.
Have you got online banking, Jerry?
I do, and it's very annoying. Why?
Because I got a free tablet out of HSBC last week. Because I was mentioning to them, can the banking app be put on a tablet? And they went, yeah, and we'll give you one for free. So I'm just saying, go and scab one from your bank, maybe. You might be able to scab one.
I'm sure there'll be somebody who can just print this for me. I just turn up and
I want this
printed out.
For banking, when in actual fact, I want this to be sitting on the bog reading these rules.
Look at this. Look, snipers wearing camo, can't spot them. This poor pleb in the middle of a field, not wearing camo, standing up, going to get one in the face. Anyway, yes, Barrage Miniatures, fantastic set of resin.
Wow.
And a amazing set of free rules as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Check them out. Mm-hmm. Swish.
Well, let's do the swish before it gets awkwardly quiet, though.